All right, guys, welcome back to the Mouse and His Pals YouTube channel with me, Daryl, Jamie, James, and we're back with Dan. How you doing, fellas?
Yeah, good.
Everyone good? Happy birthday, Dan, for yesterday. He's currently on mute.
He's on mute. Great start, lads.
It's a good start, this is. He's still on mute.
He's trying to figure it out.
Thank you.
Here he is. Happy birthday, mate.
Thank you.
Right. That's all right. Right. WandaVision episode 7. We obviously had the episode last week. Episode 6. Should we get straight onto it?
Sounds good to me.
Excellent. What are we? What's everyone's thoughts on it?
I loved it. I thought it was great.
James? Now you're
James is on mute.
What's going on? Sort your lives out. Dan, what's your thoughts on it?
Really good. Not as good as maybe the past ones. I think when I was talking to James about it last night, because I watched it in the morning, first thing, I said I compared it to like last 3 episodes, probably going to be like Lord of the Rings. So the first one's The Fellowship. Not as good as the other two, but it's just you needed it. Because the last episode is going to be good. But yeah, really good episode, but I'd say just below the last two.
It was all right. I can see why everyone, like, if you're really invested, I can see why you liked it. I guess I think the next two really have to pay it off. Otherwise, for me, I just want to come away from this series like a little bit more like excited, I guess, and not just, oh, this is quite irrelevant.
I was about to say, if you're about to ask for all the answers, I think you're not going to get them, to be honest. The one thing, do you like Modern Family, James?
No, I've never really watched it, to be honest.
I've never seen Modern Family, but you could tell this episode was very late 2000s, based off the Modern Family. The theme tune as well was kind of The Office-like.
The Office, and that goes towards John Krasinski as well, and I'd like to point that out.
Yeah.
I had some real problems with this episode, but I loved it as well.
This might be one of my favourites. I just have a really soft spot for it. I really enjoyed it.
I'm with Dan. I think the last 2/3 episodes have been such a high level, that I think this is just a drop down, and it's going to build up to the last two. We're all buzzing for an hour episode, and what was it, 37 minutes long with about 15 minutes credits. Like, I don't think it was long enough to give us the answers that we need. We were very short on screen time on Vision, very short on screen time of Hayward, the director. They've built these questions up, these storylines up, and we're getting very short sort of screen time on them right now.
I don't get why they did a post-credit scene thing when they could have just left it in the main show. I don't see the point.
Because they're trying to turn it from now, which I read earlier, they're trying to turn it from a sitcom, which we know it was, into something MCU.
This is very MCU. The last 2 episodes are going to be very MCU. I don't think you're going to get much sitcom, because the sitcom side of it's now gone because of what we found out at the end of the episode. Like, it's really
it's
now
up in a sense now.
Yeah, like the reels are really moving, and I think I preferred this to the Halloween episode. But I think it's maybe on par with episode 4 and 5 for me, because I think that was the real turn for WandaVision. The one thing I will say is the music's fantastic. I said it to James and Daryl. The music in this is by the people that done Frozen 1, Frozen 2, and Coco. And the music in that is fantastic. Agatha's song, it's been in my head all day. I love it.
I can't remember one tune from this. I'm not going to lie, but I need to. But you're someone that's probably watched each episode 4 times, Jamie. I've watched them all.
Mate, on YouTube, I keep playing Agatha's theme tune in my on my phone. I love it.
A gun in my head, I couldn't even tell you what it is.
We've got Jurassic Theory with us watching. He's put
James, you're normally big on like the music side of things as well.
Yeah, but I don't know. I guess it's because I'm too busy just trying to work out what's going on rather than what's happening in the background.
So we've got we've got Jurassic Theory with us. He said hello, first of all. So hello, mate. How you doing? He said he thinks this episode was one of the best in his opinion. I can see why people think it. We've finally got some sort of answer to who the big bad is. I'm still against that she's the big bad here. She is just a puppet for someone else, which we'll come into as you go down the line.
I don't think she's a puppet. I think she's very much like she's trying to control, but I still think there's someone above her.
She's fully in control of what she's doing there, but someone
Loki to Thanos kind of.
Yeah, someone is above her, telling her what to do.
And I've got notes as who that person might be. I picked up a few things.
So we'll go through the episode as a whole. Obviously, last week we see Wanda move the hex out and make the People's Sword into this circus theme, and obviously Darcy Lewis is now in the hex. Her and Vision together, I thought was quite entertaining for the very short amount we got of that, and I think she's a brilliant character in this, and we should see more of her going forward.
What we also learned is this Vision doesn't know what happened in Infinity War. He doesn't remember his sacrifice.
Well, he has no idea after Endgame, does he? We see that a couple of episodes ago. He has no idea who he is.
Yeah,
it seems to have had like a mind wipe.
Yeah, and I think that's probably Agatha. Look, let's just throw it out there. Agatha Harkness is in this episode.
I don't think it's anything to do with her. Because
I can't hear anything.
Can you hear me?
Take your earbuds out then, Dan. Play it through your speaker.
I think she's nothing to do with Vision, because obviously Hayward's trying to put him back together and weaponize him. So we know technically the Mind Stone. Well, the Mind Stone gone, right? So we don't know how Hayward's trying to put him back together. And without his Mind Stone, I believe, apart from Wanda's magic, if that's what it is, he probably has no idea who he is.
Well, in Wakanda, that's what they tried to do, didn't they? They tried to remove the Mind Stone from him and keep him alive, but obviously that got stopped. So the technology's there. It's just Wakanda, you also see in Black Panther, they're going to open up and share their powers or their resources. So the technology's there. It's just if they've got it. I also have a theory about whether he's really. I've got a theory he could be Ultron, but
who? Vision?
No, Hayward. Hayward could be Ultron because he does become human form in the comics.
Right. Okay, that's potential. So again, that's the only really time we see Wu as well, when he says that to Monica that Hayward is trying to, which was Operation Cataract, if I remember rightly. Trying to do that, which is good. It's a good part. Then we see Monica try to get into the hex. Actually, before we see that, we see actually Wanda having a full-on mental breakdown. She is losing her shit pretty quickly. And Agatha takes the kids, as at this point we only know her as Agnes, right? Still at this point. So from here, did anyone think that she was going to come out as the big bad in this episode, or the bad in this episode from that point?
She's always been a bit dodgy, isn't she, yo?
The thing is, I think we all knew she was going to be a bigger character, because you see in like the episode before, she was in like the credits for the show, but like there was always going to be something. But I didn't expect it this episode. The time I realised who she was when her and Monica were on the street arguing. Monica was getting through to her, and she looked out the window. It was at that point I knew she was Agatha Harkness.
Yeah. We'll talk about Monica a bit more now, because obviously she tries to get back through the hex in this
space sphere.
Yeah, it's like a space rover, isn't it, that she's trying to get through, and she can't. But then she magically breaks through herself, which she doesn't. She turns into Spectrum. I found that this morning, not Proton.
Oh, okay.
I don't know Spectrum's powers. I'm not too sure on that, but she does become a superhero from this point on. That was always sort of planned from 3 or 4 episodes ago, when we found out that molecules and stuff had changed, right?
Can't hear you,
Dan. We can't hear you, mate.
Take your earbuds out.
Dan's struggling. So we do apologise.
Here we go.
Dan, you there?
He's back.
That better?
Dan?
Can't hear you, Dan. Yeah, we go.
Yeah, I heard him.
Yeah. It stems back from Captain Marvel. As soon as you see Monica Rambeau, you knew at some point, but obviously this was before WandaVision was even announced. But it was just a case of when. And I think as soon as you see Monica in the lineup for WandaVision, months and months and months ago, you knew there was somehow they was going to do it.
Yeah.
She was also confirmed.
Like the last episode, though. I thought they'd done it quite early.
Yeah. I think she's going to play a part, though, in kind of maybe trying to save Wanda, maybe even like Pietro, because we see her at the end of this episode, she's with Pietro. So
I'd like to see where she goes on in this then, because obviously she'll play a part in Captain Marvel too. But where does she play a part in other films, maybe like Eternals, going forward?
She'll be in there long term now, I think. Like,
I don't know much of her outside. I knew of the character, but I didn't know much about the superhero. It's only because I read up on it when Captain Marvel came out. Apparently, she does take over at some point as Captain Marvel briefly in the comics, and she's pretty much up there with like similar power level. So it's weird that they're introducing another person as powerful as Wanda and Carol Danvers. It's just a bit. Is it too much? But then again, could she be another Avenger at some point? I don't know. It's just you don't know what they're going to do with it.
It's always too much, Dan. This is why
it isn't. No, it isn't. James, take that back. Take that back.
Are they potentially adding her in because obviously we've lost Scarlett Johansson's character, Black Widow. So add another big female lead into it somewhere.
It makes sense though, because in the comics, she's there. She's a big character in the comics. So once you see her in Captain Marvel, it also made sense for her to be in Captain Marvel. So it was always kind of this link that she was going to be there.
I always had a feel like when I saw her in Marvel, I thought the little girl was given too much of quite a strong character. So that she had something about her, didn't she? And I always thought, I wonder if they're going to sort of do anything with this in the future. And there we go.
That's the great thing about the MCU. They never give you stuff that doesn't lead somewhere. Because when you watch certain films, they give you stuff and it never leads anywhere. I can't remember the last time I watched an MCU film where they gave you something and it meant nothing. Like there's always something there. Like even if you have to go back to phase 1, phase 2, there's always something along those lines that is important. I think this is the most in-depth thing that MCU have ever done.
Jurassic Theories, what do we think might happen next? I think we'll come on to that as we go. Let's talk about the rest of the episode first, very quickly, and then we'll come on to that, mate. Look, there's one big part in this. Well, there's two big parts really that we've got to talk about. Nexus, the advert, which plays a massive part in the whole of the MCU, and then Agatha Harkness at the end. So let's talk Nexus now. I believe it was you, Jay, that told me how big Nexus was in the MCU. So do you want to explain along with Dan? Because I reckon Dan might know a bit about it as well.
So when I read it, I heard the word Nexus and I went, Nexus is not just a word they're using off the cuff. That's important. Because all the adverts leading up to this have kind of been hints at Infinity Stones, people have been saying. But obviously, there's only 6. So this is episode 7. Nexus is basically the center of something or links everything together. So the rumor is this is Wanda is the Nexus and is the center to the multiverse. And that's why maybe stuff is starting to you see in this episode, stuff starts to change, walls start to disappear because the multiverse is maybe starting to collapse around her. Look, we don't know if that's because the Nexus is falling or if that's because Agatha is playing a part. Me personally thinks it's Nexus. The multiverse is starting to just fall apart on her.
Isn't Nexus at some point in the comics as well a planet? Because
not sure.
Because there's things called Nexus beings, and they class Wanda at some point as being a Nexus being.
Yeah, this is what I kind of know-ish. Like it's going down the route I think it's going down, especially with the twins disappearing. And what I read, as soon as I see it, the advert, I know the word Nexus from somewhere, and I kind of remember hearing it somewhere. It's basically exactly what James was saying. It's pulling power from other universes. So it's obviously there's finite power in one universe. So Agatha Harkness basically lets her tap into other universes, and that's why another theory that it is Pietro. Because everyone's like, at the end, obviously I know we'll cover it in a minute. Is he sinister when he says, Snooper's going to snoop, or is he going to help? But everyone's now saying that he's accidentally been pulled in from that universe kind of thing.
I've just read it up. So a Nexus being is someone who has the individual ability to affect probability and thus future, thereby altering the flow of the universal time. So basically, you can alter time and space and pull people in from the multiverse. So, this is a real strong link. Massive, really.
Yeah.
It's pretty much confirming that, multiverse now. Well, I mean, obviously, the Doctor Strange title did, but
yeah, definitely. And again, I don't know if it's Pietro and if it is X-Men coming into it. I think Pietro would be a very weird first mutant to give us, but you understand why.
I think. Look, I look at it and I think he had to be him because at no point you can resurrect someone. It was shown. So whoever has pulled Pietro has kind of...
It makes sense for the series that we're watching, but then I'm thinking Pietro, for people like us that watch X-Men, have seen X-Men, we knew who it was straight away. I believe, James, was it you that didn't know who it was?
No.
Like that. We're like, if it was, say, Wolverine, Jean...
Yeah, if Hugh Jackman turned up, I'd be well happy.
You know, this Pietro's just he's sort of a back burner mutant that people didn't really know about. That's why I was a bit surprised. Maybe it wouldn't surprise me if it wasn't a mutant, or the X-Men coming in, just because it's quite a low type mutant. But we'll see. We've got 2 episodes left to really see what he plays. I'm sure he'll play a bigger part next week. Because I think we only see him right at the end this week, didn't we? Literally the last bit
in the Agatha reveal.
Yeah. Let's talk about Agatha in that point there. So she's got the kids at her house. I believe I can't remember the kid's name. The one that can hear everything. Is it Wiccan?
Tommy's the one that's Wiccan. Yeah.
Yeah, Wiccan's his superhero name, and he obviously can hear people. And he says to Agatha that she's quiet, can't hear her.
How do you know Wiccan's his? I'm playing like dumb here. What? Who said that his name's Wiccan?
It's Wiccan and Speed. That's
comics. See, that's what annoys me. That shouldn't be the case. We should know that.
It's only because it's meta for us. We know it. They probably will eventually.
They're not yet superheroes, or they're not yet given their superhero names. We just. I remember more as Wiccan and Speed than is it Tommy and Billy?
Yeah. Can you refer to them as Tommy and Billy then? Because I don't know who Wiccan and Speed are.
Because you've asked me that nicely, I'll refer to them as Wiccan and Speed.
He has got a point. That's what the Marvel has done well, though. They will look. Everyone who's a massive Marvel buff is going to know them as them, but they're not going to literally just bombard you with this information. They'll probably give it to you in little chunks. This is what they do great because.
But we know that they get taken away by Agatha. It's Agatha that takes them, which again is a big plot line in a comic series.
Yeah.
So from this point, when Wanda then comes over after speaking to Monica, this is where it already kicks off really for the series. The series really starts now for answers. Massive reveal. Obviously, Agnes as Agatha, and we've all thought that since week 1. I think we said that in our group chat week 1. Do you know what I mean? I thought that bottom area looked fantastic.
It was brilliant. And there was... it even started before that, though, because I now think Mephisto is basically a certain. Honestly, I've got so much... I've looked it up. There's so much evidence that Mephisto is the big bad. Basically, if you read it up, Mephisto first shows up as a fly.
Yeah.
What do we see in this episode? A fly on the wall. You then go down and you see the book, which is the Darkhold book, which is the book of sins and spells from the Hell Dimension. Where's Mephisto from? The Hell Dimension. You don't give that sort of information away without it being him. Because it basically, for it to be Nightmare now, you've got to throw in a proper curveball.
I can't wait for it not to be Mephisto now. They've proper thrown us under a bus. Yeah, it's in. No, hang on. It's not.
Like, that book, they don't show you that book without it being, important.
I think it's got to be Mephisto now. I think people will be quite annoyed if it's not. Because the only other one I'd like to see eventually down the line is it Galactico? Galacticus. I'd like to see him down the line, but that'll be more, obviously, Fantastic Four as they come into it a little bit more. But
that's the other thing people forget. Sorry. Agatha first turns up in the comics in the Fantastic Four comics.
Yeah. While we're on that, go on, James. I'll let you go with what you were going to say. And then
I was going to say, have you ever did you guys ever watch any of the Once Upon a Time TV series?
Steph's watched it all. I couldn't stand it.
I'm not a fan of it, but the season 1 I thought was actually okay, to be fair. But it reminded me a little bit of that because the lady that played the evil queen, I believe,
Catherine Hahn,
for Snow White, I can't remember her name. She's got short black bob hair. She turned like it. She makes the fairy tale land turn a bit dark, and it was kind of just reminding me of that little cellar that she'd made. Just because obviously I don't have a clue. Daryl, you said something you said it looked fantastic. Was that going from a reference of something else?
It wasn't at the time. At the time, I just thought it looked great down there, the purple, the roots and stuff like that. But since then, I've read that, and I can't quite remember it because I've lost the link that I had. Something to do with Agatha and the Nexus starts in the Florida Everglades. And it looked like sort of the trees, the Everglades sort of bits going down the stairs. I'll find that link and I'll post that somewhere because I can't remember where it was. Just to explain it a bit more to you guys. But that's the only thing for me. I just thought it looked visually great for a TV show. So, so we go down there because I've got problems. I'll come to them last. We go down there. Obviously, we meet Agatha. We know the kids are gone. The kids are not nowhere to be seen. Brilliant part of the episode. Now, this is where Jurassic Theory's question comes in. What do we think happens next?
Dad, do you want to go first? Because I'm struggling.
Everyone's got their theories. Up until this point, I've been semi-right. I think the Agatha thing was happening. It was a pleasant but not unsurprising reveal. I think obviously I kept forgetting that she's obviously got purple, where when Wanda's like all red, like mystic stuff, it's hers is purple, and you see her like mind control Wanda.
Yeah.
So again, is that maybe she's again unwillingly going to be the villain for the next episode, and it maybe get brought back because there's that line in the trailer where they say, "Oh, Westview's our home," and Vision says, "Well, let's defend it." And obviously, at some point, unfortunately, that does say she's going to come back, but I just don't know. I can't see Agatha being bad. I don't know if she's even acting menacingly. I just think it's just maybe just a trick for her, just fun and games, similar again to Loki.
Yeah.
I think the twins are going to come back, but not before there's some trauma, because the whole thing's about grief and trauma and Wanda not having the chance to grieve, and I think that's going to explode in the next episode.
Again, if you go back to the comics with Mephisto gets greater power by absorbing the power of Wiccan and Speed.
Yeah.
So I
wasn't sure whether to say it or not, but yeah.
That could easily be something that we see and we don't see the kids again for a while. That could easily happen. And that'd be dark. That'd be seriously dark.
But it'll be great.
But we know that the multiverse of madness film with Doctor Strange is going to be a kind of horror, which is going to be dark enough anyway. So they need to start putting stuff into it like that, which it'd interest me for sure.
That's the one thing we really don't know at the moment is we know now Agatha Harkness is here and she's been controlling Westview, but we don't know why she's been doing it. So this is the episode for me. Episode 8 is really going to have to really tell us, why is Agatha doing this? Why is she taking Westview by control? Like, what has made you want Wanda to feel like she's in control? Like,
I'll be disappointed if this isn't an hour long.
I don't think it will be.
I was reading somewhere, like the guy that I don't know if he's a writer involved, he said there's roughly going to be 6 hours of content, and someone done the maths, whether it's just under or just over, and they predicted that the last 3 episodes are going to be like sort of 45 in an hour, and obviously we only got 37, but that's including the credit run time as well. So
it's 30 for credits.
Yeah. But
they probably include the credits though, don't they? Just to kind of
so the credits for 7 minutes. Ridiculous. Dan, is there any way you can turn your mic up slightly when you're not talking? Well, when we're all chatting away.
On my headphones again. Just carry on.
So my problem with the episode as a whole, really good. but they set up questions or plot points in the last episodes, and we didn't get what we wanted. Okay, now Monica and Wu were going to meet an astrophysicist. Yes, we know that, but they say he in the last episode. In episode 6, they go, he is waiting by the bridge. Where was that he in this episode?
Yeah, he weren't here, was he?
Still not met him because that's who they were going to meet, but they go and meet completely other people. So
that woman who was very underwhelming as a character. If it is her.
So what is this? Like, what's going on?
Could that be a wild goose chase though? Like Marvel just sending you on a wild goose chase?
Just say I'm going to meet someone then.
I still think someone turns up. Maybe not as big as we thought, because obviously there's still just rumours.
Well, they did say that you're going to have someone as big as Luke Skywalker, which would be Reed Richards. It would be obviously Fassbender. We don't know. It could be anyone. It could literally be Doctor Strange.
Could it be someone as Mephisto? Could they actually show us the actor who's playing Mephisto in this show?
Potentially, or just show us Mephisto as the character without the person. Potentially, I just don't know. I really don't know where we go from here because there's so many questions up in the air still.
But I don't mind that. I'm really trying to say to myself is you can't expect all the answers in this show because they wouldn't have confirmed stuff like Scarlet Witch turning up in Doctor Strange unless if this just can't be done in a perfect way that at the end of episode 9 everything's answered. Because if it is, it just ruins the momentum.
Yeah. Jurassic Theory, if you're there quickly, what do you think is going to happen? And if we're still on, we'll obviously read it out. Anything else we want to talk about this episode? Anything we've missed? Anything we want to discuss?
Jimmy Woo is a legend. Jimmy Woo is fantastic, and I want that show.
Need more Jimmy Woo, mate. Jimmy Woo, very little part. I want to see Jimmy Woo and Darcy just go off and just kill it.
I'm not as big as Darcy fan, but Jimmy Woo's great. Like Jimmy Woo's just funny.
Darcy smashes it. Darcy is so comical.
I prefer her in this show to what she was in the 4 films, I have to admit. But it's still a very good performance all round this show.
Sorry, Jamie, hold on. I can adjust your mic settings. I didn't realise I can. So if you just talk normal, I can adjust the mic volume for you. All right. Sorry, go on. Anyway.
So we've got a reply from Jurassic Theories, but I don't know actually. There are still so many unanswered questions, so pretty much on the same level as us. Bubbles forever. I believe that will be Steve himself. We will leave that now. Steve, you know where you are. You are under the thumb. Anything else we want to discuss on this week's episode?
We could say what your favourite bits were from a favourite scene that you found in the show, in this episode.
Rambo going through the hex.
The last 2-3 minutes for me. Once we go back to Agatha's house, we watch Wanda work her way down to the lair, and then the song. Absolutely brilliant.
That song is quality.
Yeah.
That song is great. And the bit where she says at the end that she killed the dog. Fantastic.
Oh, it got me creasing because we all knew she had, but then when she says it.
Fantastic.
I would say for me, my favourite scene was when Rambo tried to get through the hex and she nearly lost it, and then she decided to just be brave and just go straight through, because obviously somewhere deep down she knew she'd be able to get through it, and there's obviously something else there to explore.
Can I ask, is that brave or stupidity?
Well, she obviously knew her own ability though as well at the same time, so she's obviously knows something else that we don't know. So there's something else there that's going to get answered eventually at some point, I hope. And then she went through, and then obviously she's got some form of power. I don't know. So I thought that was quite a good scene.
Dan, what's your favourite scene of the lot?
Oh, Dan can't hear you now.
Still not there. We apologise for any technical problems we've had today.
It's all Dan's fault.
Dan, you've had your mute on mic twice. You've had your mic.
Yeah, but I'm muted. Dan's not muted. He's just got no sound.
Dan's had a bad day at the office. I think it's something to do with haircut.
Maybe his headset's still connected. I think Dan's headset's still connected to his computer. That's probably why. He needs to disconnect it, then his mic should probably work.
Fair enough.
That's a nice thing.
Jurassic Theory again has put his favourite scene is the same one as you, James.
Geezer.
I think it is a really good scene. Just the bit where she's actually going through the hex, and you see the different forms that she takes up through the show. I think is really clever as well. But
it was interesting to see how she saw the world through her blue eyes as well.
Yeah, you're right. And I'm looking forward to seeing her more of a spectrum over the coming weeks. Let's call it a day now. We've been talking for about half hour. I think we're all buzzing for next week.
Well. I wouldn't go as far as buzzing for me.
James,
grow up on a podcast about superheroes. Grow up with 3 men that's nearly 30 years old. Well,
I'm 22. Check your phone, James.
Well,
good question, Steve.
Steve, that is the best comment you have ever said.
You can't silence the master. Let's put it that way. So I'm gonna.
That is it.
Well, we're going to call it a day there. So you can find us on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Please come join us. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube. We're growing by the day. Also, please go and like Jurassic Unicast, which is James and Steve's channel. They're also on YouTube. And can you please, if you are a sports fan, go and like the Pretty Bubbles YouTube page. It's also something that's growing. Me, Jamie, and James do a West Ham podcast. YouTube
fans, we can just go.
Yeah. So we do that. Please, can you like that as well, if possible? We're just trying to grow as we go. So thank you very much. Thank you to Jurassic Theory for watching and joining in with the conversation today. We'll be back next week, probably around about the same time. Steve, I look forward to never seeing you again.
Let's quickly just say Dan's faults. He said when Monica stops Wanda from slamming her into the ground, Wanda's reaction to that was his favourite.
True.
Very good.
Right, so we're done.
That's it. Right, guys, thank you very much, and we'll see you later on.
Bye-bye.
Bye.